You know, in programming, a huge part of what we do is repeating tasks. But what happens when the task you need to repeat is another repetition itself? Well, that's where things get really interesting. So today, let's master one of the most powerful structures in coding, the nested loop.
Okay, let's start with what we already know. The basic loop, right? It's a fundamental building block in pretty much any language. Its job is simple. Take some instructions and run them over and over again until a condition is met. It's the absolute workhorse of programming.
And that brings us to the core question. What happens when just one layer of repetition isn't enough? What if, for every single step you take in a process, you need to run a whole separate cycle of other tasks? How do you even handle that kind of complexity?
Well, the answer is surprisingly simple, but it's incredibly powerful. We nest them. We just take one complete loop and place it directly inside the body of another one. This creates this multi-level structure that unlocks a whole new dimension of control.
So the formal definition is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. Just like you might nest if statements, you can totally nest loops. You have what we call an outer loop, and right inside its body, you put a complete inner loop. It's literally a loop within a loop.
Let's take a look at the syntax here. So the outer loop is controlled by the variable r, and it's set to run 3 times. Now look inside its curly braces. For each one of those 3 runs, the entire inner loop, controlled by C, is going to execute from start to finish. It'll run twice. This relationship, this is the key to everything.
So how does the computer actually run this code? Understanding the flow is absolutely crucial. This is where most people get tripped up. But I promise, once you see it, the logic is perfectly clear.
Okay, here it is. This is the most important rule you need to remember. The inner loop completes its entire cycle for each single iteration of the outer loop. It doesn't just run alongside it. For every one step the outer loop takes, the inner loop starts completely fresh and runs all the way to its end, every single time.
Let's trace it together. The outer loop starts, r becomes 1. Okay, now the program enters the inner loop. The inner loop now runs completely. C becomes 1, then C becomes 2. Then, and only then, does the outer loop move to its second iteration, setting r to 2. And what happens next? You guessed it. The inner loop starts all over again from the beginning.
This table gives us a perfect picture of that flow. Just look at the R column. When R is 1, you can see the C column cycles completely through 1 and 2. Only after that's done does R finally become 2 and C starts its cycle all over again. You can see exactly how this nested structure produces that final output.
Okay, so that's the theory. But where is this actually useful? Well, it turns out nested loops are incredibly common, especially when you're working with data that has more than just one dimension.
I mean, think about any kind of grid, or a table, or a spreadsheet. They all have rows, and they all have columns. That's a classic two-dimensional structure, and a nested loop is the absolute perfect tool for navigating it. Typically, you'll see the outer loop handling the rows, and then for each row, the inner loop moves through all the columns.
Let's look at a real code example. Imagine you've got a 2-dimensional array, like a grid of numbers. To get to every single element in that grid, you can use an outer loop to pick the row, and then an inner loop to move through each item inside that row. It's just a really clean, efficient way to process every single cell.
And here's a classic example that every programmer runs into: printing a multiplication table. Think about it. To print the table for, say, the number 8, you need to multiply 8 by 1, then 8 by 2, all the way to 10. That's one loop. But to build the entire table from 1 to 10, well, you need an outer loop to control which numbers table you're actually printing. It's a perfect job for a nested loop.
But, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. As useful as nested loops are, you have to be careful. You can't just keep adding more and more levels of nesting without thinking about the consequences. This classic quote, while it was originally about nested if statements, applies perfectly here. When you nest loops, the complexity of your code just skyrockets. Your clean indentation might show what you want to happen, but if there's a logical error buried in those layers, it can be incredibly hard to find.
So, there are 3 main things to watch out for. First, readability. Let's be honest, deeply nested loops are just hard for the human brain to follow. Second, performance. The work multiplies. An outer loop running 100 times with an inner loop running 100 times, that's not 200 operations, it's 10,000. And if you add a third level, you're at 1,000,000. This can seriously grind your program to a halt. And finally, all this complexity makes debugging so much harder.
But let's be really clear, these warnings aren't meant to scare you off of them. Nested loops are an essential tool. For problems that are naturally multidimensional, from processing pixels in an image to working with complex datasets, they are often the most direct and logical solution you have.
So, we've mastered 2 levels, but what about 3? Can you think of a task that would require a loop, inside another loop? Maybe something with 3D coordinates, or working with a cube of data? It's a really good question to think about as you continue on your coding journey.